Good evening and welcome to Hudson Valley Week in Review, where we look back at the people, places, and issues making news in Ulster County and the region. I'm Amy Greene. We begin tonight in New Paltz, where the mission of the Shawangunk Nordic Ski Association is in full swing. That mission, according to the organization's website, is to promote and support all aspects of cross-country skiing in the Shawangunk Mountains and surrounding Hudson Valley region. The group invites ski enthusiasts to take part in cross-country events, as well as attend meetings to discuss issues SNSA is currently dealing with. Mark Ruoff and Veronica O'Keefe are co-organizers of the Shawangunk Nordic Ski Association. We spoke to them earlier this week about the group and the needs and challenges members face.
My background started when I was about 11 or 12 years old, and mostly backyard skiing was kind of how it started, up and down on a slight slope that we had in the back of the house. And from there I actually went to a practice. My brother was on the high school ski team, so I went to a cross-country ski practice with him, and the coach kind of asked, like, oh, who's that other kid skiing around? And then he took me under his wings. That was Art Stegan, who had just finished coaching an Olympic team and had also been a competitor himself. So he grabbed me and took me to some local races and throughout New York State then eventually, and I got into the sport of biathlon, which is skiing and shooting. And from there I went to Empire State Games and then raced in some nationals beyond that. Went to college in the Midwest. After a very brief stint in Rochester, New York, I realized I had to keep skiing, so I went to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and they had an Olympic training center there. So I stayed there for several years, got my degree, trained for the sport of biathlon at the same time. I also spent 1 year in Norway, where I trained with some pretty hard clubs and kind of got a sense of what the bigger picture of skiing was in the world. And then I came back and raced a little bit longer in another Olympic trials in 1998. And after that, I called it quits with competitive sport, but came back home. This is my home area here. Originally, I had started with New Paltz High School. And I came back to this area and have just been skiing on these trails since '98, and just feeling inspired by the scenery here and by the trail system.
Well, I started downhill skiing when I was 3 or 4 years old, and I love the sport, but about 5 years ago, I tried cross-country skiing and fell completely in love with it. I barely downhill ski anymore. It's great exercise. I'm a trail runner as well, and I find the parallels are wonderful. But also just being out in the woods, in just places you would never be able to access during winter. No cold lift rides. It's just a lovely, magical sport.
SNSA was founded just by a group of us, I think, saying ultimately that we want to be supportive of the sport. We just want to bring more people into it. And it also, by doing that, I think it helps the people who are putting their effort into grooming the trails to understand that there is good reason to be doing the work they're doing, which is extensive. They really put a lot of hours into keeping machinery running, putting people out on that machinery, and then spreading the word as well that it's available to us. So the beginnings of it, I would say, really were just friends talking about it and recognizing that there was a need perhaps for a little more of a constituency to express support for cross-country skiing here in the Shawangunks.
Well, I was one of the founders of the group, just based on with Mark Ruoff and Eric Weigeshoff. We had been just discussing grooming issues in the area, as well as just wanting to build a stronger community of skiers. You know, we see all these people out every day when the weather's good and the grooming is good, but sometimes it's hard to connect. You know, we'll say hi on the trails and you see people without their ski clothes on and they're totally different looking people, but there is a huge interest in it, and it's just, we wanted to make that community stronger.
We have really one of the best trail networks in the whole country, but I think a lot of people in the area don't really understand what a wonderful winter opportunity it is. You know, you could ski for hours here and not go over the same trails, and they've been grooming it in recent years, and we just, as an association, would like to be supportive of that. That's kind of been our objective. Some of our goals include, I suppose, starting with the youngest people, trying to teach young people how to ski, which we haven't really organized at this point, but that's one of our objectives, is to create a Bill Koch Youth Ski League, which is named after Bill Koch, who's the only Olympic medalist in cross-country skiing. So he created a youth league, which is available all over the country now. So we may do something like that in the future. Also, we would like to raise funds, if necessary, for grooming equipment, present Minnewaska State Park, Mohonk Preserve with volunteer groomers if it's possible, and as long as their rules allow, we would like to, put our energy into man hours to support grooming here. The only qualification I'd say would be a passion for cross-country skiing and being outdoors in the winter. I think we run the gamut. We have people who have not skied in decades or not skied at all, and then we have some of us who have skied since we were young, and we're competitors at the sport as well. So yeah, we really do run a pretty wide range. I think perhaps the financial change in 2007, 2008, that was a big hit to state parks, for instance. So in our mind, being supportive of that, if possible, is one of the reasons we're setting up our group, just to be a 501c3, which is not for profit. We could take money in to be then supportive of a state park, for instance, and their efforts. We're just hopeful for more grooming and consistent grooming on a regular basis, because in many ways we're very privileged here. We have grooming at two wonderful areas, Minnewaska State Park Preserve and the Mohonk Preserve. So between those two places we have somewhere around 40 miles of skiing right now. What we would like to do is just enable them to feel sure that they can carry out their efforts, and if there's a need there for better grooming equipment or more man hours, that's where we come in. I think we would like to be supportive of that. One of the most challenging parts about grooming here is when the conditions become very changeable and we are in a freeze and thaw cycle. The surface becomes very tough, and what's really needed then is a machine that has the ability to till up that material. So there's a lot of snowmobile going on right now where they're dragging implements behind the machine, but they don't have the ability to really churn the surface up and make a nice skiable circumstance out of it. Or if they do, it takes a lot of hours. So the real dream scenario would be to get a machine here that's like a double-tracked vehicle with a power tiller on the back, something from a company like Piston Bully or Snowcat. The weather, that's a big variable here, of course. Once in a while we'll have a winter that can be a real dud. These past 2 winters have been terrific. This one started a little slowly, but these recent 5 weeks have been, I'd say, almost unparalleled in my memory of February skiing in the Shawangunks. Yeah, in this past month it's barely gone above freezing any day, keeping the snow at a really nice quality. And it just makes for easy grooming, easy skiing, and pleasure for everyone, I would say, who wants to get out on the trails. At the moment, it's just through our constituency, those who feel inclined to donate. In the future, we hope to maybe do fundraising events, have group skis, perhaps a meal out just to cover topics of cross-country skiing and fundraising in that sense. PayPal may get set up in the future as well. So we're very new. Right now, we're just starting a website, and that's going to be our initial go-to place for people who want more information and who might feel inclined to donate. So right now, it's just people writing checks and being supportive in that fashion. Well, we're going to ski a lot today, and after that, it really is just a continuation of our primary objectives of standing in support of anything ski-related here in the Hudson Valley and the Shawangunk Mountains for cross-country skiing, that is. At this point, the primary objective is creating a ski culture here and just putting information out there about the sport, making people aware of what a wonderful option it is in the wintertime, and just to get people out of their houses and out in the woods in the winter and enjoying an amazing scene and loving the sport of cross-country skiing.
Looks like fun. When we return, we stop by Duo Bistro in Kingston, one of many restaurants participating in the upcoming Hudson Valley Restaurant Week. Stay with us.